Rascal Does Not Dream of Buddy Girl Senpai is an amazing show. A sentence I never thought I'd really say, ever in my life, but yeah, I'm saying it. That's how I feel. This shit is a good fucking show. But yeah, I really, really like this show. It definitely surprised me way more than I thought, and I knew going in to watching the show, it was not as advertised. It was not as, degenerate as you may think looking at just like the show's picture and the title. You would think it's completely something else, but no, story is actually something I think is pretty deep and very, very engaging. But there's a few aspects I really have to give a lot of props to, because there's things in this show that I've never seen done within other shows that I felt really helped, at least in my opinion, build the show. So let's first talk about the characters, and they did something in character writing that I have not seen in any other show. Again, I have not watched too many shows, but I still think this is pretty rare to see, and it's something that, they don't do often because they don't know if it will relate and if it will come out properly to someone who's viewing it, which I feel that some, could have viewed this type of situation completely differently from how I viewed it. And that's how these characters kind of play an act for a kind of ongoing joke. And it sounds a little bit weird. Hang on. You may be knowing what I'm getting at. But we have our main, who is considered to be a rascal. And generally, he makes jokes, that he's a bit of a perv. But, he has this pretty dead tone when he makes the jokes. It doesn't sound like he actually, is genuine. He doesn't sound genuine, and it comes off as just kind of filling out a conversation, and it's just a form of banter. And I've seen it in real life in friend groups, especially if you're more crude joke makers. I definitely see it where you have like a ongoing joke about somebody's character, and it's something that's over personified. Like, I don't know, a friend that sucks at getting a girlfriend, and we just completely rag on the dude for sucking at getting a girlfriend, and he just plays along with it, and he's like, yep, I suck. And, you can get witty comments out of it. It just livens up conversations sometimes, and we see the show do it, which I have not seen in any other show, and makes these characters feel like they are closer, even, with only being with these characters for like 13 episodes. They're trying to say, oh yeah, these characters have known each other for a bit of time. A few characters know each other for a long time, and certain characters have to click very quickly within the show. And I feel this is done super well, because being able to have this commentary banter with each other that just, picks up the conversation, makes sure that it isn't a dead conversation, and it lets you be able to not use these kind of like super fake things that most people would just never say. Like, for a romance kind of show, there'd be the cheesy love lines, and it feels so unnatural because, like, nobody's saying that, especially our main character. He has this pretty dead tone. He's serious, but he's a generally good dude. Him playing out this character seems super natural, because when he says it in the tone that he does, it doesn't sound genuine, and, it's kind of just to poke fun. And the main girl, Mai, also plays a type of pretty much hard to get, which is kind of reasonable because most people would perceive that you can do better in a relationship, but generally it seems that she actually likes a lot of the characteristics. He is generally charming. The jokes, even though are an act of something that would be an uncharming character, he does it as a joke, and it makes it a charming aspect. And also his genuine sincereness, and he just seems like a great person. And I don't usually say that. You're not like, oh yeah, he seems like a great person, and he just makes jokes like that. I'm surprised how they can do tone like that and do it so well. I've never seen it. It's risky because if you do not perceive it that way, you can take things completely differently. But for me, it did work. I took their tones, and I generally feel a better connection between the characters. And that's a love story that they have to set up within the 13 episodes of the show. And it's like, that's pretty quick to try and set up this character dynamic. And they did it really well. And I feel they are actually a very, very good couple. Of course, I think characters are definitely one of the biggest strong suits from the show, but there's definitely other good things. I just don't think they're as notable as how much I would praise their character writing. And that is this show, for a pretty calm, simplistic show that I would consider pretty slice of life like. This show keeps you on your toes. Not that, there's super big cliffhangers. It's not a super unpredictable show. I feel you can predict certain points of the show, and that's fine. I kind of, know what will probably happen coming up, but I'm still engaged to see how it gets there, and I think its writing is very interesting. To explain the conflict in a very simple way that does not spoil anything, there's pretty much time and space paradoxes that end up happening between our characters, and pretty much they go through a time or space paradox. Some weird predicament that would rationally never happen within the world happens, and through certain actions they have to resolve the issue and put the world to its normal, regular self. And it's not some super crazy action. It's definitely just a bunch of talking out with characters. And surprisingly, it was super engaging. They knew where to cut off the episodes themselves to kind of give a good cliffhanger to like, oh, what's going to happen next. Even though you kind of know how the solution will likely resolve, you kind of want to see how exactly it's going to get there to its resolution. And it's a show I was actually able to binge. Slice of life are sometimes hard to binge because they're super calm and simplistic. It doesn't try to set up big cliffhangers, but this show had me grabbed, it had me hooked, and I have to really give it credit. Also, a little nice aspect to the show is with these time and space paradoxes, they actually do relate it to real things. And even if they don't relate it perfectly, I still feel the fact that they do try to relate it is very interesting. It's kind of like the more you know. I honestly like that aspect. Just learning something new. I'm like, crap, I didn't know that was a thing, and now I do. Weirdly, the Bunny Girl Senpai show taught me something in life. Generally not important, but still pretty cool. So I've been talking all the good stuff about the show. Most people click off by now. So let's talk about the bad stuff that may keep you a little bit away. But I'm just going to say, I would suggest to give the show a try. And generally the one aspect I would have to, knock some points down is the animation. It suffices as animation. It's not bad, right? It does the job. But sometimes doing the job is something that you still have to criticize. Usually, if it does the job, I'm like, whatever. It's all you need. But, if the animation's amazing, if they know exactly when to spend more time into a certain scene to strengthen it, that's a pretty good aspect. Because, some shows, they just go nuts on this one scene animating it, and it's like, that wasn't really important to the story. Why did you do that? This show does have a big weakness in that aspect, where these scenes that I feel could have been even more emotional than they already are. I'm going to say, I still cried a good bit at this show. it did get out some emotions at points. I feel it could have got me crying a bit hard though, if certain scenes where we're seeing our characters' despair were just better animated. There's one in particular that I'm like, it kind of looks a little wonky, and when you do that, when you have something that looks wonky but it's supposed to be a sad scene, it takes you out of it a little bit. Again, there was like a more impactful scene like after that, so that's what it did, you know, hit me in the feels. But I think that was one aspect that I definitely have to criticize. You could have done better, spend a little bit more time on those scenes in particular, and I think the show would have hit the feels a little bit harder than it still did. Again, it did it. I ugly cried at the movie. And that's a pretty good feat, you know? If you're getting me to ugly cry at something, good job, accomplishment. I may be a little bit of a bitch who cries at anything, but I'm a little bit of a hard ass, so you know, if you're going to get the ugly cry on me, I do have to compliment you. And yeah, I think the show was really good. You know, I feel at least give it a try. I think if you want to watch 3 episodes, it solves kind of like one arc of it. And if you didn't like the 3 episodes, even though I think a bit of the show is going to get better after, it doesn't mean that it's going to, you know, actually fix what 3 episodes you didn't like were. It's pretty consistent in its quality throughout. I still think, you know, it has a little bit of a climb upward as the show goes on, where things are more impactful and worked really well, which I think usually should be done. You know, the first few episodes don't have to be just bangers. Leave it off on a banger, start off with something solid, and the show definitely does that. But if what you see is solid and you don't like it, feel fine with clicking off. The rest of the show isn't going to get that much better. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully my review was good. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you liked and enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.